Are you an idiot? Well, you're in good company. There are about 8 billion idiots on this planet, and that number grows every day. Don't be the guy or gal that says, "I'm not an idiot," because that makes you the biggest idiot of all. We all have our moments of brilliance and our moments of idiocy. Embrace it, folks. Don't be ashamed. Without those idiot moments, we would never be able to appreciate our brilliance. Welcome to I Love My Idiot, a podcast about the idiots we love, the idiots we loathe, and the idiots we can't seem to avoid. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Visit our website at ilovemyidiot.com.
Welcome to another episode of I Love My Idiot. This is Rosie here, flying solo, because Clyde stayed up way too late last night playing video games and is asleep next to me here.
How dare you,
Wake
Rosie?
up, Clyde!
I may be tired right now, but I am here, and I am your equal host, Clyde November.
You're a quarter at best right now.
All right.
So, yeah.
I'm slowly waking up, all right? I'm sorry. Rosie woke me up at like the butt crack of dawn.
That is a lie.
Hey,
I woke you up at 11.
Let's podcast.
I have been up for 4 hours.
What time is it right now?
You just barely rolled out of bed.
Oh,
you were
my
up to like
goodness.
2 a.m. playing video games.
Yeah.
We have a podcast. People depend on us.
I know.
People need to hear this podcast every week. And if you're going to be sleeping through podcast time, we're going to have problems with our listeners.
All right, well. Okay, I'm awake.
Wake
I'm awake.
up.
Let's do this.
Wake up.
Let's do this. So we had a very exciting weekend, at least exciting for me, because I have been trying to convince Rosie that she needed to watch The Matrix for, the duration of our marriage, and I finally talked her into it. What'd you think of The Matrix, Rosie?
It's kind of a mind twister. After you watch it, you don't really stop thinking about it because you're like, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure that The Matrix is meant for a woman of my intelligence level. Because the thing is I will find every hole in every storyline that's ever been told. Yeah, if they're not just absolutely executed perfectly, then I'm like, wait a minute. Well, why is that guy even there? Because he was clearly born on the ship. So how is it possible that he could do XYZ thing? And you're like, it just is!
No,
Nobody cares about the driver of the ship!
Well, that is true. No one cares about the driver of the ship.
I'm like, this makes no sense.
Focused on the point of the story.
Yeah.
The one thing that you pointed out to me that I was like, that's actually a really good question. You said, why is the Nebuchadnezzar just flying around doing nothing? Like, what is the point? I'm like, actually, that's a good point.
Yeah,
so,
there's a lot of holes in their story.
Rosie, you have too much of a skeptic mind to just sit back and enjoy a really good movie.
That's true. And as the listeners know, because, they know me through and through now, I like to just get to the end of the story and just, okay, what happened? And it's really funny because I was actually on my way home from work the other day and I was telling you a story and I just jumped straight to the end and I'm like, yeah, and then that happened. And you're like, wait, like what led up to this final destination? And so then I had to rewind and sort of give you some context. Yeah. But that's how I am.
Yeah, and sometimes when I'm telling you things about my day, I'm like, you'll never guess what happened. And I go into details and you're just like, just tell me the end result.
Yeah, because 10 hours later, I still don't know how this thing ended. And you have ADD, so you'll forget halfway through what you're even talking about. And I'm like, so what happened to her? And you're like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, you were just telling me this whole story, and then you forget.
That's because you are distracting to talk to. I'm like in the middle of my story, and you're like, "What's for dinner?" And I'm like, "Oh, now my mind is on dinner. Now I'm done telling my story."
You're like, "Ooh, you bought Doritos today?
Yeah,
excellent. I'm gonna open these right now."
Yeah, I'm the dog on Up. I'm always like squirrel.
Exactly.
I can't help it. I have ADD.
I know. It's fine. I'm really good at reining you in, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Well, another exciting thing happened this week. You peed on me.
Yes, I did.
And that is the last time I shower with you, Clyde.
How did it go? What did you think?
Clyde, I think maybe you should tell the audience what you had to do for the defamation of my foot.
Well, first we should tell them the full story. See, once again, Rosie trying to cut to the end. We took a shower together.
Occasionally this happens.
Yeah, which, showering together in the beginning of our relationship was a lot more romantic.
Yeah.
Like we were embraced in each other's arms.
Now it's just like, give me the water.
Yeah, now it's like,
It's basically just conservation of water at this point.
Yeah, it's the fact that we have 10 minutes without the kids and it's like, okay, we're just going to rush through this. And
exactly. Remember when I used to wash your back and stuff? And now I'm just like, I throw you the bar of soap.
I mean, when you say remember, I barely remember because it's been that long since I've had a good back washing. Yeah.
Every now and then you do try to embrace me and I'm like, you haven't washed yet. I'm already clean. Back off.
And there's a reason I haven't washed yet. It's because Rosie is kind of a water hog. And any husband knows what I'm talking about with this. Because I'm convinced, I've talked to other men who are married. If you're a married man, past, I would say, about a year or so, maybe Seamus and Stacy are still having fun showering together.
Yeah.
But the end is coming, Seamus. So enjoy it. But the woman hogs the water, takes all the warm water, and the guy kind of stands in the corner of the shower and gets those little sprinkles that by the time they fly through the air, are no longer even warm.
Yeah.
So it's an uncomfortable situation
I don't
to
even
be the male.
know why you need to be in there at all. I can get my shower done so much quicker if you did not get in with me. We could easily take turns and take the exact same amount of time. I'm there first 99.9% of the time. And you come in knowing that all you're going to get is droplets of semi-warm water.
There's always that slight hope that it might lead somewhere, like in the showers of old,
Sure.
I'd walk in and instantly get some action and it's just like, wow. I must be such a glorious human that she just can't resist my nakedness.
Oh, man.
I haven't thought that in a long time either.
It's all right. I mean, that's what 13 years, 14 years will do to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Showers are no longer the same.
Because we've been showering together longer than we've been married. So,
oh, sure.
You got to count those couple of years before. But yeah, I mean, it's just different now.
Yeah.
But one thing you cannot deny is the smell of pee in the shower. And I am an extreme clean freak. I like things to be clean, and also I'm a germaphobe. I can smell pee from a mile away. You try to sneak every now and then, and I always know it, and I always yell at you because I'm like, we don't want a shower that smells like pee.
The mistake I made was I got in the shower with a very full bladder. So I really had to pee. And I knew you were already mostly done with your stuff. So I was like, I don't have to hold it for very long for you to leave.
So you're saying
and then
you
I can
do pee in the shower?
Every time.
Oh my gosh. Clyde, that is disgusting.
Well,
the rest of us also use the shower.
Yeah, the shower floor gets washed down. When all the suds run off your body, that washes it down.
Germs stay there. You got to get bleach and stuff to wash off pee from the bottom of a shower.
I pee directly on the drain. 99% of the time.
I step directly on the drain when I stand in the shower.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that anymore if I were you.
Oh my gosh, you have got to stop peeing in the shower. This is ridiculous. There's a toilet 2 feet away from the shower. Just go before you get in the shower. I pee in the shower
forget.
0 times. I never pee in the shower.
There's something about getting in the shower in the warm water. It makes you realize you got to pee. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. The other day, little Rosie was in the shower and she yells at me from the other room and she's like, Mommy, I peed in the shower. And I was like, we don't pee in the shower, little Rosie. That's not okay. And she's like, Daddy, tell me all the time, just pee in the shower.
Yeah, I taught her. You stand over the drain and you let it fly.
Oh my gosh. Now it all makes sense, Clyde.
That's how
I
you
actually
deal with
told
it.
her Daddy would never say that to you because I've trained him to never do that. And she's like, no, Daddy said.
You gave me too much credit, Rosie.
Clearly.
Well,
you don't deserve it.
When the warm water was hitting me, because I was trying my best to hold it, right? Because I knew you were almost done. But when the warm water was hitting me, it just, like a tiny little squirt came out.
Mm-hmm.
And from the corner of my eye, I thought it may have hit your foot. But then I was like, maybe it didn't. I won't say anything.
Oh
maybe
my
she
gosh,
won't notice.
Clyde.
But you waited a good 15 seconds to see if I would fess up. Like, this was
I
like
wanted to
entrapment.
give you a chance to admit what you had just done. And I was like, we just stared at each other for 15 seconds. And I don't know if you've stared at your partner for 15 seconds ever, but that's a long
I wasn't staring
time.
at you. I was,
Yeah, you were trying to look
I
elsewhere.
was looking elsewhere.
Just like Tarly, when I look him in the face, you're like, you're the dominant. Don't look her straight in the
Don't look at the
eyes.
alpha directly in the eye.
Anyways, so then I finally said it. I'm like, did you just pee on me? And you're like, you may want to wash that foot. And I was like, oh my gosh, Clyde, for reals? And then what did I make you do?
You made me wash your feet. You handed me the soap and you said, get your ass down there. And I respectfully did.
You did.
As
you
if
washed
I
my
was
feet.
Jesus washing people's feet. So you're welcome for that. It was probably the cleanest your feet have ever been.
That's a
And
lie, too.
also, I would like to point out that there are situations where it's okay to pee on people. Like
No.
jellyfish
They
sting.
have said that is not a real thing.
I don't believe it. If someone gets stung by it, if
Oh
you
my
get
gosh.
stung by a jellyfish, I'm peeing on you.
Yeah, I'm
just
still
telling you.
probably going to die.
I don't think you die from a jellyfish.
Well, I'm
sting.
going to
I
lose
think
a
it just
foot or
hurts.
something. Yeah. I
And-
don't think there's very many purposes to pee on.
I'm sure there's other reasons,
Yeah. I did read this story once about a ship that was stuck at sea, and one of the people on there was a nurse, and they actually had this regiment of like drinking urine, but that was because they were literally dying and they were in salt water. I think that's the only reason to ever let urine touch any part of your body ever.
That's disgusting. I can't imagine.
I think when you're about to die, I think you do a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah, well, if you're so dehydrated, like, here's the thing about that. If you're so dehydrated, have you ever peed when you're dehydrated?
Yeah, but here's
It's
the
like
thing.
orange.
She had a whole method. Like, they literally lived out there for a year or something crazy. And they were living off of, like, fish. But then they found a way to, like, collect fresh water when it would rain. And you could drink the urine, like, up to 2 times after you had fresh water. And then you couldn't drink it anymore because it was too concentrated.
Wow.
I know way too much about this because that book was fascinating. But yeah, so if we're ever lost at sea, that may be the only reason to repurpose urine.
Yeah.
But if it ever
But you don't drink
fucking
someone
touches me again,
else's urine.
you're getting divorced.
Well, I like how you said you're getting divorced, not we're. You're like, no, I'm staying married,
Yeah.
but you're freaking
You're
getting
out.
divorced.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I meant nothing by it. And, I think my track record proves that I am not trying to purposely pee on you. I am not trying to sneak situations.
I feel like I need an apology, but I also feel like I need a promise that you're going to stop peeing in the shower.
Well, I also feel like rule number 2 is we don't apologize on the podcast. So unless you pee on someone.
You pee on somebody. That's going to be added to the rules. I need an apology, and I'm going to need you to give it to me now. Looking me in the eyes.
Rosie?
Yes, Clyde?
It saddens me deeply that my body would not listen to my brain. I've always respected you as a human, as a woman. I've always adored the ground that you walk on. And never, ever would I intentionally
Oh my gosh.
do anything to degrade you.
Thank you, Clyde.
So, I would formally and publicly like to say then I'm sorry.
I accept.
But.
Oh, there cannot be a but in an apology.
Because
I accept your apology.
Hold on. Because it happened
No.
without my brain telling me to do it, I can't guarantee it won't happen again. Maybe this is a sign of getting old. Like, you just randomly squirt pee.
Okay, will you at least try not to ever pee?
I promise you, I will try to never make that happen again. I'm telling you, Rosie, it wasn't intentional. I know that there are some people that have like a fetish to pee on people, which is gross.
I don't think that's a real thing, Clyde.
It's gotta be.
No, that's disgusting.
No, I've heard.
I don't want to talk about
weird
pee
things.
anymore. We're done talking about pee.
Okay.
Moving right along, Clyde. So
Wait. You didn't say whether you accept your apology.
I accepted it before you added the but, and I am not accepting it after anything after the but.
So you just started plugging your ears, tuning me out once I had said but.
Yes, I've gotten very good at tuning you out over the years.
Okay, well.
So yesterday we had a kind of fun day. We went and hung out with Seamus and Stacy, and then also one of Stacy's really good friends. And Mike was there via Zoom because she's afraid of germs. So, yeah, it was really fun. We did a yard sale, sold a bunch of stuff. I made sure that she stuck to her pricing because you know how Stacy is. She'll just like, seriously, somebody will come up and be like, can I have this whole pile of stuff for 50 cents? And she's like, sure, take it. I'm like, no, I would rather donate that pile of shit than give it to them for 50 cents. There's like $15 worth of stuff there.
It's like there's a price tag there.
Yeah, I'm just saying. She made more money because I was there as her bulldog.
Sure.
Yeah, and then there were a couple things that I wanted, but you were not wanting me to have them.
Yeah, I don't like filling our house with extra
it was really
junk.
funny because there was this one vase and I really thought it was cool and I really wanted it. So every time somebody would come, we'd all be watching as people were like looking at that vase.
I know, and you'd be like glaring at them if they went near the vase.
No, that's not it. But as soon as they would leave without the vase, I'd be like, yes! Still my vase.
Vase is still in the family.
I know, it was funny. And finally, we got to the end of the yard sale, and what was still there?
The vase.
The vase
I was fine with you having, because you'll find a purpose for it.
Yeah.
The 47 coffee mugs. I'm like, we don't have room for these in the cabinet.
Listen, me and JT love coffee cups.
Yeah.
John Thomas, you know what I'm talking about.
Look, these ones weren't even that cool. All right.
There were Christmas and Valentine's Day.
There were a
and
couple
stuff.
cool ones. Why do you want a Valentine's Day mug that's not even from your Valentine? Like,
you don't buy me Valentine anyways. It's probably the closest thing I could get to it.
That mug was probably from one of Stacy's old Valentines, pre-Seamus. You know, I feel like that mug should be target practice.
No, that is my mug. I will be drinking out of it in the month of February.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
There were also these two little shelf thingies.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call them. They're not bookshelves.
They're like what you'd put next to your TV.
Yeah. Maybe put DVDs on them or something. I don't know.
Well, Stacy had like cute little like knick-knacky type cool stuff on them. That's probably what I'll do too.
You started asking about those because you're like, oh, I'm surprised. Those are cute. No one's taken those.
Yeah.
So Seamus tells me, oh, a handful of people have like been like, oh, wow, these are really nice. And then they put one hand on it and realize like how rickety it is. It just wobbles. And he's like, yeah, no one wants those. Those will be garbage.
You just put those next to something and maybe put a nail or two through them and they'll stay together. It'll be fine.
Yeah. So now
they weren't that rickety because when we went up to them, you actually put your hand on it and you're like, wow, it's actually more sturdy than I thought. And then you agreed to buy them.
Yeah. Well,
where else can you find a shelf for $2.50? I'm just saying. That's a good deal.
But then Seamus was selling some MMA gloves.
Yeah.
Which I was like, I got to try these on, and ended up wearing them the rest of the yard sale. I kept saying I was the muscle of the yard sale. I was like, if someone shows up and, you know, tries to bring this ship down, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. You and those spaghetti arms there.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I've been in a fight before.
Your fight story is pathetic.
It's not pathetic.
Okay, let's go with this. You tell me about the worst fight you ever got in, and then I'll tell you about the worst fight I ever got in.
Are you suggesting your fight story is going to be
My fight story is definitely better than your fight story.
Oh my goodness.
And
you're not a fighter.
It does involve a crackhead and fireworks.
Okay. Well, mine involves a guy named Jeffrey, which, if you remember several episodes back, the episode Marnie was on.
She hates the name Jeffrey.
She hates the name Jeffrey, and I totally agreed with her, and it was because I got into a fight with a guy named Jeffrey, right?
Yeah.
So I went to a church camp, and they were worried about kids, like, getting lost, wandering off, possibly, like, what do kids do when they wander off during a church camp? They get into trouble that should never happen.
They're, like, making little fires, burning stuff down.
Yeah.
Showing each other their penises.
What the? Dude, what do you think happens at boys' camp? That is not the kind of camp I was going to.
Dude, that's exactly what happens at boys' camp. Every person I've ever met that attended boys' camp were either doing super cool boy stuff or doing a little bit on the edgy stuff with other boys.
Okay, you grew up with some weird boys, okay? I mean, don't get me wrong. Occasionally at boys' camp, you would see a penis, but it wasn't like, hey, let me show you this. You always had that one guy that was like, I'm going to skinny dip. And then next thing you know, we're all in the pond naked.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So their rule was everyone has to stick together with their partner. Right. And they assigned everyone a partner. If you separated from your partner, if you got caught separating from your partner, they were going to handcuff you together.
That seems safe.
Yeah.
And this is camping in the 80s.
Great idea. No, this was my senior year. I graduated in 2002. So
young.
What do you mean? Dude, I'm older than you.
Barely.
How dare you brag about graduating early?
Well, I also graduated in 2002, but...
Yeah. Well. And you're 2 years younger than me. Look, you're one of those nerdy people that cared about high school, okay?
Oh, I'm a nerd now.
I could have graduated early had I cared. I chose not to care.
You had to attend summer school every year just to graduate on time.
Yeah, you attended summer school too, just for a different reason.
I'm just saying, I may have been smart, but I was not a nerd.
Dude, let me tell you, those classes I was retaking during summer school were a lot easier during the summer than they were during the school year.
I have to admit, that is true.
Yeah, because it's like a 3-week class. So they're like, yeah, we're going to read one book. Whereas through the semester, they're like, we're going to read the entire Great Expectations, all 2,000 pages. And you're like,
I'm just saying, I attended summer school every year since freshman year. And I just pounded through all the classes so I could graduate early. 2 years early, by the way. I was not a nerd. I was just a person who wanted to get out of the town I lived in.
I pounded through classes too so I could graduate on time.
Yes, exactly.
I did not want to be the super senior.
Okay, what is your definition of a nerd?
A nerd? I don't know. You?
Oh my God.
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever met a single person that's like, Rosie, nerd. No. Everybody meets me and they're like, I love Rosie. She's so fun.
I know. No, you are not a nerd. I don't know what a nerd is. I don't put labels on people like that.
I think you may actually be a little bit of a nerd.
I am not a nerd.
Yes, you are.
I am cool.
You are a nerd. Let me tell you why you're a nerd.
Would a nerd go to Bigfoot conventions?
Yes.
No.
Yes, he would.
A nerd doesn't do cool stuff like that.
Also, Exhibit A, this morning I had to drag your ass out of bed because you're playing computer games all night.
Yeah.
You know every
cool computer games.
Freaking kind of bird, where it originated, how it flies, what color it is, the sounds it makes. Nerd.
Educated, not nerd. You have to know those things if you're going to go out and look for Bigfoot in the wilderness. Because there's certain birds he's not attracted to. So.
Even our kids every now and then, like, look at me after you've gotten on a 10-minute rage about kinds of spots on a deer.
Why do you call it a rage? That made no sense. Do you want to re-pick your word there?
No, I like to keep it. And the kids will even look at me and be like, do you think he's ever going to stop talking? You know, we all have this like look that we give each other when you're just sort of like gabbering on about the color of grass and why it grows and, you know, all the nerdy things that you know about things. And they'll just be like, oh, can we just like do something better than this right now?
I have to speak in spirals. So like everything I talk about, it always spirals around. And that's because Rex has ADD. So I know he's going to tune out. So it's like, it's okay. I'll re-talk about that when I spiral back around.
Yeah, but Rex doesn't really care about where you think Bigfoot lives. I'm just saying, he does not care.
He's going to need to know. I'm just saying.
Rex is an animal expert, and he's 100% convinced that Bigfoot is not real.
I don't know if that's true.
I think that kid may actually know more about animals than you do.
I don't know.
Because you've, like, made him a nerd, too. So I've accepted that one of the three is also going to be a nerd, but I still got the other two, like, locked in on the cool Rosie side. Yeah, you'll get to jabbering, and I'm like, hey guys, you want to go get some ice cream or something? They're like, yeah, it's way better than listening to what Dad's story is.
I'll just follow you to the ice cream shop.
We'll go get ice cream. We'll come back, and you'll still be telling the same story.
Gosh. That
nerd
is an exaggeration.
Anyways, this
maybe
was
I do that so that you guys will leave and give me a little time home alone. Hope you have fun at that ice cream shop. Which, by the way, I'm lactose intolerant, so thanks for bringing.
They have dairy free.
Have you ever had dairy-free ice cream?
Yeah, I eat it all the time because I'm also lactose intolerant. So don't be going all, I'm going to pull the lactose intolerant card. 3 out of the 5 people in our family are lactose intolerant, and we all love the ice cream shop. So I'm just saying.
I have a theory about ice cream, though.
Okay,
if you
you have
gone
in such a weird path. Let's get back to what we were talking about.
I will. I know you're dying to tell your fight story.
Yes, and I'm dying to hear the freaking rest of yours.
Don't worry. I'm giving you time so that you can finish making up this fake fight story.
My fight story is real, and we can call Seamus to freaking tell you how real it is.
Okay. I'm actually a little scared. Like, the look you just gave me. You looked like you were about to get in your second fight.
You do not want to get in a fight with Rosie, because I fight dirty.
Okay, so I will get back to the fight, but first I want to tell you my theory about ice cream. If you didn't grow up eating ice cream, it's not a good dessert. Mm-hmm. Like, people only love it that grew up eating it.
I don't know if that's true.
My mom figured out that I was lactose intolerant very early on, so she never let me eat ice cream. So now, as an adult, when I eat ice cream, I'm like, I mean, it's okay.
I don't know if that's true, because I think some people who don't grow up around ice cream come to the United States and taste it and are like, oh my gosh, this is the most delicious thing ever.
I've never met any of those people. They have ice cream everywhere in the world. Well, everywhere that they have freezers, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Actually, now that I think about it, when I was in Iraq, I don't think I ever saw ice cream
Exactly.
off the
It's
base.
a little warm there. It's a little warm there.
So back to the fight. It was morning of the 3rd day of the camp, and they had paired me up with this boy named Jeffrey.
Were you chained to him?
Not yet. Mm-hmm. This is how I got chained to him. Now, first of all, I had known this Jeffrey since I was in 1st grade. Sure. He was the kid everyone hated. Mm-hmm. He was just the most annoying kid. He was one of those people that would purposely do things to try to get on people's nerves. Mm-hmm. And he had absolutely no friends. I am convinced that they put me with this guy because I went to high school with a lot of really aggressive football players that would get in fights all the time at the school. And a lot of them were at this church camp. And they knew if they pair Jeffrey up with one of these football players, he's going to get beat up like within the first hour of the camp. So they put him with the soft, kind human, right? Mm-hmm. Which I am. I am, Rosie. I am soft and kind and would never intentionally pee on anyone.
Yeah, that is yet to be determined.
So the morning of the 3rd day, it is time to brush teeth. We just had breakfast, and then I told Jeffrey I'm going to run back to the cabin, grab my hygiene bag. I need him to come with me because we weren't allowed to separate. He said, okay. So he starts walking with me, and all of a sudden he hears someone playing horseshoes, and he says, I'm going to go watch the horseshoes. And I was like, dude, no, you're not. you're going to brush your teeth. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to play horseshoes. And I was like, dude, I have to pal around with you all day. You're going to brush your freaking teeth.
Yeah. Because you're a breath person. You cannot stand bad breath.
No, I can't. So he refuses. And then I said, look, I'm going to go brush my teeth. I was like, I don't even care if you brush your teeth. Like, for all I care, your teeth are going to rot out of your head. You'll have no friends in about 10 years. That was probably rude, but people without teeth have friends, right?
Yes.
I mean, I've never had a friend without teeth, but...
Yes, you do.
Who?
All the people that you met up at my mom's house. You were talking to them like they were best friends with you at that barbecue.
True.
At least half of them were missing half their teeth.
So I go grab my toothbrush. I go brush my teeth. He refuses to come. He goes down to watch the horseshoes. And he's convinced he's going to be able to play horseshoes, but no one will include him because he's the kid everyone hates. So after I brush my teeth, I go down to the horseshoes, and the grown-up that's the leader of this camp is just sitting there with this big old smile, and he's like, I have an announcement, everyone. And he's holding up the handcuffs, and he's like, looks like we have our first violators. It's Clyde and Jeffrey. And everyone's laughing. And like some guys are like pointing at me and laughing because they're like, haha, you have to get handcuffed to Jeffrey. So I get cuffed to Jeffrey. And I'm thinking like, this is the worst. And so I say to Jeffrey, thanks a lot, man. And now your breath stinks and I'm cuffed to you. And if you had just gone with me, and he starts laughing like it's some kind of funny joke, right? Just ticked me off. But, you know, I'm like, I kept telling myself, stay calm. It's fine. We have 1 day left, 2 days left of church camp. I don't know, something like that. It's gonna be fine. So then we had these morning classes where they teach us all about church or whatever that bullshit was. After the classes, someone who was in our cabin said, hey guys, I've got a bag of candy. And we weren't supposed to like bring candy. So this was like contraband. He's like, let's go sneak back to the cabin and eat this candy. And so we're all like, oh yeah. So we all sneak away. Everyone in our cabin, we're running back to the cabin. And as we get to the cabin steps, we hear the sound of horseshoes from back at camp. And Jeffrey is like, horseshoes, let's go play. And I'm like, hold on, dude. I'm like, I will go play horseshoes with you. But first I want to get some freaking candy. And the guy like refused. And he just starts running toward the horseshoes. And I'm trying to pull him back toward me. He's sitting there yanking on me. And, you know, we're cuffed together. And I'm like, dude, we're already at the cabin. Let's just get a piece of candy and then we'll go. And he's like, no, I want to go now. You know, go figure, this guy had no friends, right? Like sometimes I feel sorry for people that have no friends, but a lot of times I'm like, there's a reason you have no friends. It's because you do crap like this. I had this rage that like filled me and I was ready to just attack him.
A piece of candy, Clyde?
Right, it wasn't.
You lost your mind over candy.
About the candy, but hold on, the story's not over. I did stay calm, and I know this is probably driving you crazy because this is taking a long time to get to the point, but I'm just trying to show you how many times I gave this kid chances. I gave him chances, right? So I took a deep breath, and I said, fine, we won't get candy. We'll go watch the freaking horseshoes that we won't even get a turn because no one wants to play with you. I didn't say that, but I said it in my head. So we go back to the horseshoes, and we're standing there waiting for our turn. And I look over, and here's this kid that I go to high school with. He had a box of Chips Ahoy cookies. You know, he's like risking this because we're not supposed to have sugar, but he's like sitting there, and he's wrapped in a blanket, so he's kind of got it hidden under the blanket. And I looked at him, and I said, hey, can I get one of them cookies? He's like, yeah, sure. So he holds the thing out to me. I reach up to grab the cookie with the hand that is cuffed. And all of a sudden that hand gets yanked away. And I didn't think anything of it. So then I just reach with my non-cuffed hand, and all of a sudden my whole body gets jerked away from the cookies, like just as I'm about to grab it. And I look over at Jeffrey, and Jeffrey has like both hands on the cuffs, and he's yanking me intentionally, and he's got this smile on his face. And I was like, you mother effer. Now, the guy tried to deprive me of 3 things. A, brushing my teeth. 2, candy. but no one gets between me and a cookie.
That is true.
Right?
That is true.
I lost it. Now, he was in a very compromised position because he was holding those cuffs and leaning backwards with all his weight to try to pull me away from the cookies.
Mm-hmm.
I may have taken advantage of that. So I jumped on him and quickly had him in like a headlock grip and was just punching his face. Everyone at this camp instantly goes, fight! And they all just circle around us. And they're all just like so excited because one thing about boys is there is nothing more exciting than when two people go to fight, you know? And it wasn't much of a fight because, I mean, I had him in a hold and I was just sitting there punching his face. And yeah, pretty soon the leader came running over and he was like, well, I guess these two don't need to be handcuffed anymore. And he uncuffed us and I was like, dude, this was my first fight and I won.
Oh my gosh.
And then like after they uncuffed us, the guy was like, why don't you guys take a breather? And they let Jeffrey go off by himself. And I kind of stayed there and I was still like huffing and puffing because I was like so angry. And you know I'm not a person that gets angry easy. Right? Like
unless you come between you and a cookie, and I've seen some anger.
And I was like fuming, but then this kid came up that I barely even knew, but he was I knew of him because he was really popular. He was one of the, football players, but he came up and patted me on the head and he's like, Clyde, man, I've been wanting to kick the crap out of that kid for so long. And then he said, I was actually hoping that the tables would turn and he would start beating you up because I kept thinking the second Jeffrey has the upper hand, I'm jumping in.
Oh my
He's like, I want my turn. And he's like, so I'm proud of you, but I also resent you a little bit for not giving me a turn. He's like, I couldn't jump in while you're already kicking the crap out of the kid. So that was my fight. Although I should have you know, my dad was supposed to be one of the camp counselors. But wasn't there yet because he had a work conflict. So he showed up in about 3 hours later that day. And so that was the first thing on my mind, right? Because my parents were strict and mean, and they had always taught us, like, no matter what, you don't raise your fists to another human.
Yeah.
Right? When my dad finally shows up, I see the camp leader pull him aside, and they start having this conversation. And I'm thinking, like, oh, crap. He's telling them about the fight. So my dad walks over, puts his arm around me and says, Clyde, I need to talk to you. Come with me. And I'm thinking like, oh, shoot, here it comes. I'm going to be in trouble, But at the same time, I'm old enough, where it's like, I mean, what's he going to do? Like maybe ground me. It's not like he's going to put me over his knee and spank me or something. So he takes me down to the lake and he says, so I understand that you got in a fight. And I was like, yeah. And I'm like getting ready to, give my excuse or whatever. And he was like, well, I am really proud of you, son. I mean, sometimes you just got to put people in their place. And like, it was like the first time in my life that I was like, is it possible my dad's actually cool? Like,
he's just
what
hiding,
is this?
His
I know.
Coolness.
I'm like, my mom has suppressed the man that my dad could have been. But one fight, I am 1-0, never lost a fight.
Yeah.
Except the Clyde who used to just beat the crap out of me all the time. Unfair fight, he was 6 years older than me.
Oh my gosh.
And I wasn't really fighting back. I was just begging for mercy. All right, Rosie, there's the story of my fight. Any takeaways for you before you dive into your story?
No, that all seems accurate.
Okay. All right. I'm dying.
No, I think honestly though, the only reason it actually turned into a fight, because you're a bit of an avoider, is because you were cuffed to the kid. Like, I think that if you could have gotten away from him, a fight would have never occurred.
That is probably true, because I am normally like a walk away. And I'm pretty non-confrontational.
Yeah.
I don't like confrontation with people.
You would just be like, wow, I don't like that kid. I'm not going to go around him anymore.
Yeah.
But I think that the opportunity allowed for you to have your one and only fight in your entire life.
Yeah.
So my childhood, the entire thing was a fight. Me and my siblings, most kids are playing in the backyard with a ball, maybe some yard toys, maybe a game. No. Christine, Seamus, and I, we were practicing our defense moves should a crackhead attack us. Every day, we practiced fighting. Every day, we got stronger and stronger because when you're really little, you're kind of like, get pushed over, right?
So I am now picturing your entire childhood like that sequence in Rocky 4 where Rocky is out in the wilderness, like gaining his strength, moving logs, throwing an axe, all in the purpose of like becoming a better fighter.
That's 100% accurate. So here's the thing. When I left home, which I was very young when I left, I was probably stronger at that time than I am right now because I chopped wood, practiced fighting, got in some real fights. I was carrying things that were way larger than my body. Like, I had really strong arms and legs when I finally left home. And then, I get with you and I turn soft. It's kind of bad, but whatever. This is not the first fight I got in, and it wasn't the last fight I got in, but it's one of the most memorable fights I got in that could compare to your, Jeffrey story. It was the morning of the third day of an all-out rager at our house.
All right, I'm already seeing a similarity because mine was the third day of my camp. Bad things happen on a third day, yes. I'm just saying.
It's the day before the 4th of July, and all the crackheads already have their fireworks in an abundance. This was a 1990-something when they still sold illegal fireworks that shot into the air. Remember bottle rockets?
Oh, I have many memories with bottle rockets.
And the Roman candle that actually shot nearly to the sky?
Sure.
These were all in abundance during this 3-day rager. By the third day, we're all fatigued because the crackheads never sleep. Us children are becoming wary because we haven't eaten in days. Yet the crackheads have cleaned us out of even the smallest morsels of food that could possibly exist. Clyde, you can't make me laugh. This is a really serious story, but when you laugh, I can't help but laugh.
I'll have you know that in my brain, I was like, I hope she uses the word morsels. And I've never heard you use that word, so I was like, she probably doesn't know that word. And then you used it. You came through for me.
Stop, you're ruining my story.
All right, go on. Sorry.
So I'm not going to say that the fight would have happened had the conditions been better, but by the time that this fight occurred, I was not only sleep deprived, but I was hungry, and that really was not a good combination for little Rosie.
Still to this day, not a good combination.
I don't like those feelings, for sure. I like to be well-fed and well-rested. You know what I mean? So, I go outside where I find a cackle of crackheads, and they're all getting all riled up. They're really excited about something, and I'm like, what? What more could there be? Like, we've already experienced all the things that crackheads love. It's the third day of a rager. What more fun could there be? Well, a new crackhead has joined the cackle of crackheads. And this crackhead has more fireworks than I've ever seen in my entire life. And we grew up in an area that had a field, and if that field caught on fire, like, we had problems because our house was basically made of sticks
and plywood.
So this is not a safe thing. And I had thought for sure we were done with the fireworks. Well, turns out this guy had gotten his hands on some like big time fireworks, like the kind you see at, big displays of fireworks. My mom's passed out on the couch and I'm trying to wake her and say, hey, the crackheads are about to do something really dangerous. Wake up, Mom. And she's like, ugh. She gives me the hand and she's like, get out of here, whatever, I don't care, they can do whatever they want. So I go out to the cackle of crackheads and I'm like, hey, you cannot light those fireworks off here. Keep in mind, I'm 11 years old. I'd already seen some shit in my life and I was like, you cannot fire off these fireworks. If you set the field on fire, we're in big trouble. I'm going to go call the cops because, for one, I can tell these are illegal fireworks and you're about to set our whole house on fire. So, not okay. Get the fuck off our property. And the crackheads are just laughing at me and like pushing me and stuff. And they're like, oh, what are you going to do? You're just a little 11-year-old. And I was like, you don't push Rosie.
I know. I'm getting heated just.
Yeah.
I want names.
Like the
I
idea
will track these people down.
Of anybody pushing me is a real problem. So naturally, I go grab Seamus and Christine because, we've been practice fighting. We've been real fighting for a long time.
This is our moment, guys. This is what we've been training for.
Guys, it's time. Like, we got to bust out some skills and we got to go beat up a bunch of cackle of crackheads. Like, this is going to happen right now. These crackheads need put in their place. They've been here for 3 days raging. They've done all their crack already. They're starting to go off withdrawals now. And oh my gosh, crackhead on withdrawals is like berserk. So I'm like, we got to go find some weapons. Anyways, Seamus comes out with a hammer. Not just any hammer, the kind of hammer that you use to bang an axe head into a piece of wood. Like one of those big mallet type hammers. Christine grabs a bunch of rope. I don't know what she's going to do with the rope. She just has rope.
I feel like she's like, that's even creepier than the hammer.
And of course I grab a shovel. Like what else would I grab, right? We're limited on possible weapons. And I'm like, they're about to set off fireworks. And at this point, 2 of the crackheads had already set off the Roman candles into the field. And they'd already started a small fire in the field, just from shooting it, not up, but sideways. And it's freaking morning. Like, you don't set off fireworks in the morning anyways, because you can't even see the fireworks. So, yeah, we go out there, and I'm like, get off of our property. My mom's still passed out. Like, at this point, I am the next in command, right? Like, I'm the next oldest person on the property who lives here. You guys are going home now. Most of them walked here. I don't know how or where they live, but they just need to get their asses off our property. So, go out there, and I got my shovel. It's already up behind my head in the position of about to hit you with the shovel. I said, get off our property. In perfect timing, Christine and Seamus come from both sides of the trailer. Because, you know, we had a strategy of how to scare these guys. So, Seamus with his hammer, just tapping it in his hand. Keep in mind, Seamus is 8, right? An 8-year-old with a hammer tapping it in his hand who's got the strength of a 35-year-old. A little scary. Christine comes around the corner. Keep in mind, she's 9. She's got a rope. And I don't know why she's swinging it, but she's swinging it.
It looks more intimidating.
It looks intimidating when you swing a rope and it's sort of hitting the ground. And I got a shovel right in the middle. Crackhead pushes me again. By this time, I can tell Seamus and Christine are getting a little scared, right? Like, the crackhead's pushing my sister. Am I really ready? You know, am I really ready to attack a crackhead? At this point, some of the other crackheads are like, yeah, clearly we need to get out of here. It's getting weird, right? It's just getting weird. We got to get out of here. So some of the crackheads had left. Well, there's one crackhead left behind, the guy with all the fireworks. I said, don't effing push me. And he goes, I can push you if I want. I said, you cannot push me. This is my property. He says, I'll push you if I want. And he pushes me again. This time, I almost fall to the ground. And I'm like, oh, it's on. And I look over at Seamus. I look over at Christine. And I'm like, you ready? You know, because in crackhead time, you actually have quite a bit of time. Because they're moving fast in their brain. But their bodies are kind of, they're all over the place. Like, they're not, you know, they can't really see where you are. They're just sort of flaring, right? They're just flailing. I take that shovel and I whack it right into his back. Just hard as I could, all mustered every bit of energy I had. And I hit that man in the back with a shovel. And he falls to the ground. And I'm like, it's time! I'm like yelling at the kids. I get on this guy's back because he's face down now and he's trying to get up, but you know, he doesn't have a lot of movement in his limbs because he's a crackhead and he's clearly out of it. I put my legs, wrapped them around his neck and head, and I just started squeezing and then just hitting him in every spot, punching, hitting as much as I can. Christine runs up with the rope and immediately ties this man's legs up. And Seamus with his hammer's hitting his hands. I don't know why Seamus is hitting the man's hands, but he is. And finally the crackhead's like, okay, I'll get out of here. Just let me go. And then my mom comes out. Oh my God, what are you doing to Frank? Get off of him. And we're like, Mom, he pushed me.
And of course, instantly the kids are in the wrong here.
And then my mom's like, Frank, why'd you push Rosie? What's going on? And he's like, she wouldn't let me set off my fireworks. That's exactly what he sounded like. And I go, Mom, look, our freaking field has a little bit on fire over there. Do you see the smoke? Like, Seamus already put it out, but it almost caught on fire. This man needs to get his fireworks off our property. She's like, fireworks are fine. And all three of us got up with our tools still in hand. This man is tied up by this point. Christine's freaking amazing with a rope. She had the man hands, feet tied to each other. So he's doing this really weird backwards, like when you tie up a pig, you know, with all the arms and legs are together. Yeah, you've tied up pigs before, right? Like,
I've never even seen a pig tied up, but I think I did on a cartoon once. So proceed.
So then we all get up with our tools and we're like, we're going to have to fight Mom. Like, and we're like, Mom, we do not feel safe and we're going to call the police if you can't get this man off of our property. And she's like, well, where did Kelly and Kevin and Todd go? And we're like, they're gone. Like, your 3-day rager is over right now. There's not even fireworks day yet.
She's like, but tomorrow's the 4th.
Tomorrow's the 4th of July. What are we going to do? They were going to bring all of our fun. We're like, this is not fun anymore for us. So we're all three standing there in front of the man tied like a pig. And she finally let down, gave us our way. Put Frank in his vehicle. He's clearly inebriated. We untied him. She's like, you got to go. And for whatever reason, when she says he's got to go, he's just like, all right, I'll go. I'm like, I've been telling this man to leave for 3 days. Yet you can just say it one time and he leaves. And he totally respected her and just left. But it was a pretty cool fight.
Wow. That is a cool fight. A lot of things I respect about that fight. I respect that you protected your property.
Sure.
Makes me proud of you. I respect that 3 children beat the crap out of a grown man. That's an amazing story, Rosie. I may even say that that's a better fight story than mine. And I also will admit, I've never been more turned on than I am in this moment. Like, I didn't know you had this in you. I mean,
yeah.
I know that if anyone gets between you and our children, like you'll punch a person.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't know the origin story of the person you've become. So.
And I'm kind of a dirty fighter. I've been in many fights in my life. Like, this crackhead, again, wasn't the first and he wasn't the last. I have been known to be very dirty when I fight. Like, I usually try to go for the upper body. And I usually try to get my body wrapped around their body. Like, that is my move. If that I can get my legs wrapped around them, at that point, I start to have control. And I have literally pounded a man's head into gravel using what little bit of hair he had. Made him lose a couple more teeth. Like, Christine is the same. And so is Seamus. Like, you don't fight with us. Now, we've been training our whole lives.
And what's interesting, I did go through some hand-to-hand combat training. Mm-hmm. And that's what they taught us. Like, it's all about controlling a person's body by wrapping your legs around them. It's like, if you can get your legs wrapped around a person, you've got the upper hand in the fight, right?
Yeah.
And you can take on people that are stronger than you if you can get the leverage, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what's really interesting...
And if you can get them face down.
Yeah, well, sure.
Yeah.
What's really interesting... did you have any training?
No.
That, like, how did you know this, like, how did you have this innate knowledge of just, I need to wrap my legs around this person so that I have the upper hand?
I'm going to have to give you another story to tell you how I know this trick. I'm 6 years old. By now, I know we're born into chaos. Like, this is our life. It's a little chaotic, which is crazy because our parents are not. Like, our parents are super cool people. It's just the riffraff that came with, and usually it wasn't even the person who my parents would invite. It would be the people who would come third party to the events at our property or whatever.
Sure.
Like, and most of the time, my mom and dad would be like, wow, we didn't even know those guys, you know, or whatever. Anyhow, I'm 6 years old. This is not a fair fight. I'm going to say that right now. And, I still apologize to Seamus for what happened during this time. Seamus is,
3.
And he was being a little shit. Like, let's just admit it. 3-year-olds are crazy. Like, they're running around. And he was like, He was like little Rex when he was a kid, where you could not control him. He was all over the place.
It took a lot of patience.
Yeah, a lot. Well, and I didn't, as a 6-year-old raising a 3-year-old, I had none. Like, I had no patience. I was just like, I need quiet. Like, this is all I need.
Actually, we kind of have the same philosophy with our children now. We're like,
exactly.
Whatever you guys freaking do, we just need quiet, okay?
So I started out, like any kid would. You throw a rubber ball at his head and just hope he knocks him out and he can just shut up. Well, Seamus has a really hard head. 6-year-old me goes, I got to get this under control. And I don't know where Christine is. Probably somewhere. I don't know what she's doing. So I go up to little Seamus, who's running around like crazy. He used to do this thing where he'd copy any sound you made, but like annoying.
Oh, in like a mocking way?
Yes.
Almost like a Pee Wee Herman type of thing?
Yes. And it's really annoying. He had very early verbal skills too. Like, I would be like, Seamus, you need to stop right now.
Seamus, you need to stop right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's enough to set a 6-year-old over the edge.
Oh, yeah. I had a sister that was very skilled at that technique, so.
And I'm a very patient person. 30 minutes of not being able to get this small child under control. 6-year-old me runs, wraps my legs around his legs, climbs on him, and I'm like, you need to stop right now. The boy stopped. But that's when I found that my legs were actually very good weapons. And ever since then, that's been my go-to move. If I can get you between my legs and I can tie my legs together, I got you. No matter what size of crackhead you are, I'm going to take you down.
Wow. Well, you got me between your legs once, and you got me. Got me for good.
Once a day.
Yeah, you wish.
Oh my
boy,
gosh.
Rosie.
Anyway, so that's how I learned that trick. I mean, it was just, I'm not proud of that learning experience because I don't think any 3-year-old should be beaten up by their 6-year-old sister.
And it probably made him stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when you get beat up, one of two things happen. Either you get stronger or you just become a wimp who's scared of fighting.
Yeah.
And while I'm a fairly non-confrontational person, I was also a really scrawny kid. I part of me had a fear that if I ever got in a fight, I would just get worked over because I was always really small. I went through a late growth spurt in life. But then part of me also thought no one is going to beat me the way my brother has.
Yeah.
So what do I have to lose?
Exactly.
Like, he's 6 years older than me.
Yeah.
He has given me wedgies that have like it's like my body consumed the underwear. It was like, where'd the underwear go?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't think anyone my age can give me that kind of wedgie. So, in a way, it was like he kind of prepared me for my fight.
Did you guys have any rules to your fighting?
No, not necessarily. And honestly, I fought a lot more with my sister, Chloe. She was 3 years older than me. And so we were...
You guys mostly had like verbal confrontations though, right?
No. And we wouldn't fight over conflicts. We would fight for fun. And we just thought it was really fun to try to fight. She would fight dirty. Like sometimes she'd like kick you in the nerds and stuff, which wasn't pleasant. We would do this thing that we would wait for my mom to leave. Because, back in the 90s, parents would just leave their kids home alone and assume everything was fine. Mm-hmm. And we'd stand by the window and just wait until the van, like, rounded the corner. And once it rounded the corner, we'd turn to each other and be like, okay, let's fight. The whole idea is it was almost just like a feats of strength. It was just to see who would win, right? And she would always take me because she was 3 years older than me and I was a scrawny kid. And, we did this from the time I was about 4 years old until I was about 13 and she was 16. And that was the first time I beat her. And I was starting to go through puberty. So I was starting to, hit that first change in a boy's life where you're getting stronger. And all of a sudden I could take out a girl that was 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. I was like, I have been getting my butt kicked for 10 years.
Yeah.
And now it's my turn to win. And after I beat her that time, she said, yeah, I think we're getting too old for this. I don't want to fight anymore.
Exactly.
And I was like, wait a minute, what the? Like, dude, I've been getting my butt kicked for 10 years.
Yeah, I wish we had that luxury to just have it be a play. You know, like for us, it was really a means of survival. And a lot of times these people, like, I don't hold it against them because they were inebriated, and you do weird stuff when you're, you know, under the control of substances. I don't know how to explain it, but like you'd have that fight, even with that guy who I nailed to the ground and we tied him up and sent him on his way. 3 weeks later, he's back and he's apologizing for pushing me, and he's like the fun guy and bringing us toys and milk, and it's like it never happened. You know what I mean? Like that was my whole life. It wasn't like these people just left and you never saw them again. It's like, okay, well, Frank's going to be back, you know, in a couple weeks, and he'll apologize. He'll bring us something and it'll be fine, you know?
Yeah.
Until he gets out of control again, and then we're ready to beat the crap out of him, you know?
Sure.
So that was just, it was a really interesting dynamic. The other thing I think it taught me too is that forgiveness is a choice that we make. You know what I mean? It's not a choice that the other person makes. It's something that we have to make. And so in order to survive my childhood, I had to do a lot of forgiving of a lot of people. And I think that helped me become the person that I am today, because I'm very resilient, but I also just have this kindness for humans, and I understand them at a deeper level because I had to live through some stuff, but then also forgive people who have wronged me because I was going to see them again. You know what I mean? Like, you were never away from them.
That makes me think I have never formally forgiven Jeffrey for being an annoying little shit. So I'd like to take this time to publicly, to our thousands of national and international listeners, Jeffrey, if you are out there, I forgive you for trying to get between me and that cookie. I've held on to this anger for a long time.
Oh my gosh, Clyde. This has been a really fun episode. I'm really glad that it took us on this really cool path. And
I know. I felt like
fun.
It was a fun episode that got real dark once you started talking about your fights. Like, I don't know how to behave around you from now on.
It's fine.
Like,
don't
now
let it change your opinion.
When you tell me to do the dishes, I'm going to have in the back of my mind you with a shovel.
Maybe you hop a little faster. Yeah, I get it.
I'll be like, I'm pretty sure it's your turn. And all of a sudden, Seamus comes out one side, Christine comes out the other, Seamus with the hammer, Christine with the rope.
Yeah, you
I'll
don't
be like,
mess with us.
I'm going to get on those dishes real quick.
I mean, I said it was my fight. I mean, I have to give them credit because it was also their fight.
Sure.
So
I'm not even going to hold that against you because if you added up the ages of you guys, would it even match the age of the crackhead?
No. And neither would it match the age of you when you beat the shit out of Jeffrey. Oh, no, it was fun. It's fun. It's good. I'm glad I had those experiences. It's awesome. So I'm glad you finally woke up so that you could do this with me today.
Yeah.
I'm glad that, you made it. Thanks for making it to the podcast today, Clyde.
Yeah. Bedtime changes once summer's here,
Sure.
And I know summer's not technically here. We have like 2 weeks left of school, but let's face it, summer's been here since March 16th.
Sure.
So, Rosie, before we end this episode, last week we did promise that I would reveal the next bear joke.
Sure. I forgot we were even doing bear jokes. So
I know.
Go ahead.
When we made that promise, I actually was like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I've had a couple people reach out.
I think how we should judge these jokes is if they actually make me laugh.
Okay. So
the last two have not, so
there was only one.
Keep trying.
Okay. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Why did the bear trip in the forest?
Why?
Because he was walking around barefoot.
Oh my gosh, Clyde.
There was a little bit of a breath there. I don't know if there was a laugh, but...
Well, that's your bear joke, everybody.
There's the bear joke for the week. Tune in next week for the next bear joke. I know that's what's bringing people back.
Yeah, everybody's just waiting for that bear joke, Clyde.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to our podcast. We're glad that you tune in each week. Keep loving us, keep liking us, and keep sending us messages because we love hearing from you guys.
Remember, you can follow us on any platform and make sure you click the follow button so that you know when new episodes get posted.
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
Check out our website at ilovemyidiot.com.
And don't forget to tell your idiot that you love them.
I love you, Rosie.
I love you too, Clyde.
And I'm a little scared of you. Would a nerd go to Bigfoot conventions?
Yes.
No.
Yes, he would.
A nerd doesn't do cool stuff like that.